on my life. I'm back, and she's back.
Why did you have to do the start? Why couldn't I do the start?
Because it's my video.
Yeah, but it's starting with me.
It's all about you today.
Yeah, it is.
Should we make it all about you?
No.
Show everyone your cup.
No.
Are you adulting today?
I would have shown my cup if you'd let me start. Right, okay, so these are my seed trays. So I've planted some kale, some radish, some rocket, some pak choy, some courgette, some lettuce, some spring onion, carrot, cucumber, and that's all of it. And I really hope it grows.
You've had a very busy Sunday.
Yeah.
While I was planting posts, you've been planting seeds.
I have, yeah. We've both been putting things in holes.
Oh! I can't put that. Honestly, Renska, cover your ears. Mind you, Ren, her behaviour over the weekend. Yeah, you see, she wants to go and see the boys now. Do not take Teddy Bear down the footpath. Okay, we might have to contain her. That's it. He's a good boy, isn't he? No, he's going to follow her. You've got lots of little seedlings. Oh, look, you've even labelled them up.
I have, yeah.
That's just as well, because you wouldn't have known what they are otherwise.
No, but you see, I just need to token my lettuce ones a bit more.
Which ones did you turn upside down? The courgettes?
They fell out, so I had to put them all back in again.
And then you're going to plant them up the top near where Tamara had the bonfire yesterday.
I am. So I'm just going to wait for them to sprout in here. And then once they've sprouted, put them out into the wild.
It's exciting. I used to love growing things.
Do you think it'll work?
Of course it'll work. Have faith, Hole. You just need to remember to water them.
Okay.
It's very important.
Yeah.
Say morning, Hoitza. Are you enjoying being naked? Where's your little buddy? Hey, where's he disappeared to? It's very peaceful here this morning. Very still. And beautiful. We've got Chris on his way shortly. Oh, Hoitzy. Big snorts. Chris will be on his way shortly to come and do Anja's and Doutson's feet. I don't know whether you can see down in the field over there. That's the girls' barn field. There's a deer down there, just behind the cows. There were 4 in there yesterday. Today I'm going to start getting the harrows out. We've got a small set of harrows that we generally use on the arena and in the little paddocks where I was fencing yesterday. So there's a really small window once it does dry out, because the ground drains really well because it's on rock. It's a very small gap where you can get in and start getting the areas harrowed before they actually go too hard. I'm going to do the little paddock up the top this morning, and then we need to, one of the reasons for fencing it yesterday is we need to rest it for a couple of weeks so that the grass can grow, and we're going to have Hoitzer and Jubbers in there as much as we can so that they can overlook what's going on at the yard, and if they're not in there then they'll still be in their paddock at the front of the house. The other area that's really important is this field, because we need that to rest now, because that's where I want the boys to be most of the summer. But until we can get them off there and get it harrowed and levelled out, it's not going to recover very well. We also need it for parking for our open day, which is only 3 weeks away, which is a little bit scary because we've got a lot of work to do before then. Once we get the boys off here, and that's where it's been a bit tricky, is finding the right area that's dry enough for them to go into, so that this field can rest. Just alongside their field here is this long one that goes all the way back up that way, and we call this Muddy Pool because it's right by the little beck that runs at the bottom here, but it gets really, really boggy through here. So there's a huge amount of grass because it's still been growing despite the rain. Well, the rain has made it grow really well. And I need that ground to be dry enough for them to go in there, that they're not going to be pulling shoes off or doing any damage to themselves. Of course, what we also need to consider now is that there's so much grass in there, they're going to get fat. So I don't really want them in there for too long, but I need to leave it long enough to allow this field to recover. So it's always, you know, every year it's always a juggling act in the spring and in the autumn to move the horses to the different areas that are going to work best for them in terms of volume of grass, ground conditions. There's the orchard again that you saw yesterday, the memorial orchard. And then we've got the girls and Hidda down in their 14-acre. I think this is the latest I've ever moved them into their summer turnout. And fingers crossed we're going to do that this week, because I need to get this field harrowed as well and get all the fertiliser and the muck spread on there. Although it would be really nice to get somebody else in to do all this harrowing, the reason I do it myself is just because it is a very small window, and I know that all the farmers around here are backed up with work because of the way that the winter has gone this year. And so the chances of being able to get somebody in at the ideal time on the ideal day when the ground is at the right condition is really remote. Hence why I'll be in my little tractor myself. Anyway, for now, I'm going to get little Doubtson in so that she can come up and get her shoes done. Chris is down over there doing Anja. Doubtson's in the round pen, but she can come out of there if she wants to, because Kevin has actually been fixing that gate post. So there's concrete on that, so that needs to set, which is why the gate's not hung. You can just see little Nero's head. Then behind the walker, outside the arena, is Renska, and that's Teddy Bear in there. So this top paddock that we're going to rest for a few weeks, I've just got the quad, my little harrows that probably aren't heavy enough to do this job, but it's always quite an interesting one to do this field, because there's obviously lots of rocky outcrops, it's very uneven. There's the ant hills as well. So I have to go very slowly and very carefully. And I obviously can't get all the areas. We've got Simon down there at the gateway, just putting some extra stone around the entrance where it gets quite boggy. And then just over there behind that tree is Hoytsy and his little person friends in there somewhere. Again, another beautiful spot on the farm to be up here. Look at those views and just listen to the birds. And Chris hammering. Every now and again I get stuck on a rock and I can't go forwards or backwards. Well, I probably can go backwards, so I have to pull the harrows off and just reverse it and then put them back on. Renska, he's an impressionable young man, and I know that you've been there squirting away at him. Honestly, you're old enough to be his grandmother. Fortunately, he's not being too attentive. Sometimes the geldings can get quite cheeky around the girls when they're in season, as you've seen with Hidda and Uber in the past. Little quad bike is resting now. It was smoking a little bit because it's hard work for it up in that field. So now onto the tractor. So I'm going to empty the trailer first, because once I do get these harrows on, I don't want to be taking them off every 5 minutes, because they're not the easiest thing to do. So I have to attach the arms onto these bits here, and then there's another arm that goes on there. Lining it up is always quite entertaining. So I try and do this sort of thing in a hurry and it goes wrong, then it goes really wrong. So I've asked Hol to come and help me in a minute once I've emptied the trailer. Harrows are on. So we're going to start with the orchard. So the idea in here is just to level out all of these areas at the front where the ground is a little bit poached. Pull up any dead bits of grass that are in there that will then aerate the ground a little bit to allow the new grass to grow through. It's always very satisfying to see those nice lines through the field, but most importantly, that's going to help the grass to grow much better, and it's levelled out any rough bits, so it's pretty much ready for the boy now. Holster's been tidying up as well. There's so many little jobs to do at this time of year, isn't there?
Because it's like originally all I was going to do was clear that out and pressure wash it.
When Hol says that, it means stable stays, because this all needs refreshing, pressure washing out and repainting. So Hol's taken all the bedding out.
I haven't even pressure washed it yet, because then I decided to come and get the bedding out of the tiny stable here.
Which we don't use because the roof is coming down.
And then I've got...
And it's not really suitable.
No.
And then what did you do?
Got the mats out here. So I thought some of our volunteers might like to pressure wash those at some point.
It's one of those things when you start on one job,
and then
you see a million and one others.
So I moved all the pallets that were here to there. We've just moved the ladders that were there, just because down here often ends up looking a bit like a tip, which is, it's never ideal, because ideally we want even the kind of messier areas to be as organised as possible, because it's the impression we want to give off when we have visitors. We don't want our stable stays guests who are enjoying the nice sunny yard to be looking through to an absolute...
But it's not necessarily about the impression we want to give, is it? Because we are very much as we are. It's about... It's nicer if everything around you is tidier, isn't it?
It is.
It so easily through the winter gets really messy. So this is where the wall came down. And that all needs tidying up, doesn't it?
It does.
It goes back to that thing of wherever you turn on the farm, there's things to do. And it's prioritising them. All the bedding that Hol has taken out of stable stays and that other little stable, we've brought up to the top barn, because it's not really wet and horrible, because we keep it very clean in stable stays, but it's just got a little bit tired over the last few months, because obviously there's so much dampness in the air, and we like to keep stable stays as fresh and clean as possible, whereas the stables up here, we like to keep them nice and clean, but they don't have to be quite as immaculate as it is in stable stays. So this will all get recycled in these stables and used, so that will save us using any fresh bedding for at least the next few days. I've got the boys' feed here. They're in the footpath field. Hol's going to open up the gate, and we're going to get them in muddy pool for the next couple of weeks. I'm just going to take the quad back down the other end so that their food is down there. Iceman, Uber, Hannes, and the little albino. Now, although it is still quite wet in here, because there's a good covering of grass, they're not going to churn it up as quickly. And with it forecast to be dry for the next few days, it'll dry out very quickly. And these guys won't be covered in mud all down their legs, which will be a nice relief for them. That's Uber. Iceman, he doesn't need all this extra grass. With that dad bod, lovely boy. And then Hannes, little angel eyes. Look, Hole's not galloping through the fields. She's obviously not quite as excited as the boys were. I should go pick her up on the quad. Hole,
Yep.
do you think you need to groom your pony?
Possibly. There is a strong possibility. There is that much hair in here.
I think you need the Furminator.
Yeah.
Hole being Hole and rolling down the hill. Isn't it wet though? You were trying to keep that coat nice as well. You're not right, Hole. She's having the time of her life. We've only come in here to check on the ground because she's still going. Do you feel better for that?
Everything's spinning.
I'm not surprised. How's the ground? Is it suitable for them?
Very uneven.
Is it? Does that mean I've got to harrow this as well? So we're hoping on, what is it today? It's Monday today, that on Wednesday, if it continues to dry, we'll let all the girls and Hidda through in here. And as promised to you a couple of months ago, or whenever it was, we'll try and bring it to you live on Wednesday morning. They heard us down here, just checking this bottom part again. They know that the time is getting closer. And of course Nika was the one throwing herself against the gate. It's not quite ready for you girls. So they'll come through across that little beck at the bottom there, along this muddy track, which tends to stay muddy throughout the year. So they generally come straight in, run across here, and then up into the field.
And we're filling in holes.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Just so that, well, we're not filling them in completely, but we're just putting...
Making sure they're not going to break their legs.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that wouldn't be ideal.
No, not really. Is that Nika still kicking on there?
Yes.
Look at her pushing against it.
Charles ready to help.
Yeah.
The ones we've created ourselves, actually no, it's not the ones we've created ourselves that are most disruptive, that's Nero.
It is Nero. No, Nika, we're going to go now. Take away the temptation. To film you getting stuck. This is probably one of the boggiest bits on the farm because most places it doesn't go this deep because it is quite so bad. We've had a change of plan.
We're going to take them down the track and through the bottom gateway because ordinarily when they move fields, because it's very, very exciting, they come like trotting through here, which would be fine, but not with how sinky
Yeah,
it is at the moment.
but we do need to move them off those fields.
They're rancid.
Yeah. Topped up with diesel and ready to go. This is now going to be the next few hours of my life. There's two happy boys filling their bellies with grass. So here we go. Let's get this field sorted. It's the first winter that I've ever used this field for 24/7 turnout, and it's pretty trashed, but grass is incredibly resilient. As long as I can get it harrowed, leave it to rest for a couple of weeks, it'll be looking green and beautiful in no time at all. Oh, check that out. I've not even finished. How much better does that look? I love it, a stripy field. It always looks so pretty. But I need to head back up to the barn because I believe Ian from Ask Roofing is here, and he's finally got the quote for me for for repairing that stable roof. I don't know whether this comes across on camera very well, but it's so satisfying. Yes, it still looks very brown and poached, and there's not a lot of grass, but at least it's a little bit more level. So I've got a little bit more to do, and then it'll be down into the 14 acre to get that one done. But it is drying very, very quickly. Having said that, there's some really boggy patches just in front of that holly tree there and down over the bottom there that I'm going to have to come back in and do. Now onto the biggie, the 14 acre. That's wren coming down there. Of course, all these guys have decided that there's much tastier grass in the entrance there. So I'm going to have to get them all back in before I start harrowing. I don't mind harrowing in here around them. They're used to it. They're not fussed by the tractor. It's a big field. They can move away. They might have a little run round, but generally they only do that just for fun more than anything else. I don't drive the tractor around at that high a speed that they feel that they're scared of anything. But I do think I need to get them all out of here before we set off. Little bit of encouragement and they're all out. Zhao would be the... No, you're not coming back out. Go on. Zhao would be the first to go over to the harrows. Oh no, it's Mabel. Right, girls, you inspect it. Make sure that it's all in order. And then we'll harrow away all your footprints. Yeah? They'll be excited because they know that shortly after this happens, they get to move into their summer turnout. There's several reasons for harrowing. One of them is to level out all these areas where their hooves have poached the ground, where it got very wet. Another reason is to spread out all the droppings in their toilet areas, because when they sit there as clumps, then they don't break down very well. But by harrowing it, it spreads them around and they break down just that little bit quicker. Because we don't poo pick all our fields because they're very large and it's not practical to do so, this is the most effective way for us to manage it. And the last reason for harrowing is to pull out all these dead bits of grass which have just sat here over the winter, and what they're doing is suffocating the new grass growth underneath. So because we want this to be one of our haylage fields, by harrowing it, it's pulling up all of these dead bits and helping to aerate it so that the new grass can grow through well. We started the day on a beautiful scenic video right up at the top of the farm. I'm right down the bottom now. And look at all the girls out here. And Hida enjoying the dry weather without their rugs on. It's been quite a harrowing day, in a good way. But there's only a very small window to get these jobs done. And when the conditions are right, you just have to get on and do it. So I've done the boys' field in front of the house. I did the little paddock as you saw this morning. And this is my last one of the evening. It's just gone 8:30 and I'm most of the way through this field. I've probably got about another half an hour, 40 minutes to go. But look at that sunset. Isn't it stunning? That was just far too beautiful to not share with you. I'm back at the yard, and what a lovely greeting. My little statue stood outside the barn. Hello, Annie. Hello, gorgeous. Hello. Are you keeping guard? Look, even the moon's out up there. How beautiful. Right, let me park up. Unfortunately, while I was going around the field, my harrows are well and truly broken. They are very old and very well worn, but this is one of the other issues with the rocky ground, is that if you hit something like a rock or a stone that you've not seen, it can cause lots of damage. But we'll see whether that's something that Kevin is able to fix. We couldn't end the day without a little bit from this cheeky boy. All being well, he'll be going out in his paddock tomorrow. It's all ready for him. We'll put him out with Uber, and if we can bring it to you live, we will do. If not, we will definitely record it. And I have got another little plan that I think you're going to like. That if it works, I'll share it with you very soon. Yes. Say goodnight to everyone. Rainbow boy. And stop eating my jacket. Yes, stop eating my jacket. Mwah. Kisses from all your fans. Very cheeky boy. You get to go out and eat grass tomorrow. Is that good? You're a monkey. Mwah. Mwah. You're a very good boy. Mwah. Mm. You're very silly. Don't eat my cap. No. I value my cap. You just bent it. Monkey. Yes. Right.